This daf is sponsored by David Grossman. Thank you for your sponsorship. If you'd like to sponsor an Amr Daf, see the description box below to see how you can support this channel. We continue now at the top of Daf Yud Beis Amud Aleph in Meseches Makkos. This is Makkos Daf 12a. On the previous summer, there was a machlokas. What happens if the Kohen Gadol, it's found out that he is a Ben Grusha, Ben Chalutza, he's not really a Kohen, he doesn't have the status of a Kohen Gadol. Is that considered as if the Kohen Gadol died? In which case we would say those who were exiled to the Ari Miklat, they would go free because the Kohen Gadol has died. Or do we say Batla Kohuna? We say essentially it's nullified. It's as if there was no Kohen Gadol, in which case those Rotzchim who are in the Ari Miklat, they have to remain there. And the Gemara suggested maybe that's the same machlok as we find between Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yoshua. The question is, again, if you find out that the Kohen is a Ben Grusha Ben Chalutza, do we say retroactively all of the karbanos that he brought are no good? That would seem to be consistent with the idea of Batla Kahuna. That's the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer. Or do we say no, that it's just going forward that the karbanos are not good, but the karbanos that were brought previously are considered good? That's what Rabbi Yoshua said, and that would seem to be consistent with the idea that it's as if the Kohen has died. And the Gemara now continues and says, Aliba de Rabbi Eliezer kuli alma lo pligi. According to Rabbi Eliezer, actually there would be no machlokas. And Rashi explains, Aliba de Rabbi Eliezer kuli alma lo pligi. Kilomar, what this means to say is, Man do amar mesa. It means to say that the one who says that when we find out the Kohen is a Ben Grusha Ben Chalutza, it's as if the Kohen Gadol, let's say, died in the case of a Kohen Gadol. Vadai Rabbi Yoshua amar velo Rabbi Eliezer. That man do amar who says mesa has to be following Rabbi Yoshua and not Rabbi Eliezer. The Aliba de Rabbi Eliezer lekol man do amar mesa. Because according to Rabbi Eliezer, it cannot be that we consider it as if the Kohen Gadol died. Kevan de lagabi avodos of amar psulos. Because if Rabbi Eliezer is saying that everything he did before is considered to be disqualified retroactively, Vadai ein ze Kohen, certainly we're considering this person not to be a Kohen at all. In other words, according to Rabbi Eliezer, it is clear, it must be the case that the idea is batla, that the entire kahuna is nullified. That's what it means when it says, again, according to Rabbi Eliezer, kuli alma lo pligi. Ki pligi aliv Rabbi Yoshua. When is there a machlokus within Rabbi Yoshua, meaning it's possible that both can really follow Rabbi Yoshua? Mandamar Mesek Rabbi Yoshua, the one who says that it's as if the Kohen Gadol died, so that's like Rabbi Yoshua says, going forward, all karbonos are no good. Umandamar Batla, and the one who says that it's nullified, the Kahuna Gadol is nullified, Adkan lo kam Rabbi Yoshua Hasam. It could be that Rabbi Yoshua just said that we accept the previous karbonos. He said that over there with regards to the karbonos only. Why? Because it's written in the pasuk Baruch Hashem Chelo ufoal Yadav Tirtza. It says Baruch Hashem Chelo foal Yadav Tirtza, and Rashi explains Foal Yadav Tirtza avodos of kasheros, that the avod that he did is considered kosher, and nevertheless avolinyan shar devar aveino kohen, but it could be with regards to everything else he is not considered a kohen. So again, Rabbi Yoshua only said that because of that pasuk afilu chalolin shabo, even the chalolin avol hacha, but over here afilu Rabbi Yoshua mode, even Rabbi Yoshua would admit. We will read the previous Rashi as well. Ki pligi aliva de Rabbi Yoshua. The whole machlokas is according to Rabbi Yoshua. Kilomar, what this means is einonu tzrichen lomar man damar botzlok Rabbi Eliezer. We don't need to say that the one who says the kun is nullified is following Rabbi Eliezer v'lo Rabbi Yoshua and not Rabbi Yoshua. Ta'aliva de Rabbi Yoshua ikol memar de pligi. It's possible, according to Rabbi Yoshua also, again, it's possible that they're arguing within the shita of Rabbi Yoshua. And the Gemara continues at the two dots. The Mishnah said Nigmar Dino v'chulu, and the Mishnah went on to say that even someone like Yoav ben Suruya is not allowed out of the Ari Miklat if he's in the Ari Miklat, even if he's somebody who's a general of Klal Yisrael, who's very needed for Klal Yisrael. Still, once he's exiled, he cannot come out. And the Gemara says Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav. Rav Yehuda says that Rav says Shtei To'uyos Ta Yoav Ba'osa Shah. Yoav made two mistakes at that moment. This is talking about in Sefer Melachim when Yoav fled to the Mizbeach to try to save himself. Because it's written in Sefer Melachim Vayonas Yoav Elo Hashem Vayachazek Bekarnos HaMizbeach. It says he fled to the Ohel Hashem and he grabbed hold of the corners of the Mizbeach. Tosh Eino Kolet Elagago. The first mistake was that the only thing that provides protection is the roof of the Mizbeach. V'hu Tafas Bekarnosav, and he grabbed the corners of the Mizbeach. And Tosh Eino Kolet El Mizbeach Beis Olamim. The other mistake he made was that it only protects protection if it's in the Mizbeach of the Beis HaMikdash. V'hu Tafas Mizbeach Shel Shiloh. But he grabbed the Mizbeach of Shiloh. And the Gemara continues. Abaye Omer Abaye says, he also made the following mistake. He made a mistake because it really only protects the Kohen who's doing the avodah, who's zar, and he was a zar, he was a non-Kohen. And the Gemara continues, Amar Reish Lakish says, Shtei ta'uyos asid saro shel Romi litos. In the future, there are 3 mistakes that the angel of Rome is going to make. Dechsib, because it's written in the pasuk in Yeshayahu, Mizeh ba meyadom chamutz begadim mi Batzra. It says that he's going to be from Batzra. The idea over here is that he's trying to get refuge. One of the Arei Miklat is Betzer. Toa she'ena koletas ela Betzer. He's making a mistake that the only city that really provides refuge is Betzer. V'hu gola leBatzra, but he exiles himself to Batzra, which will give him no protection. Toa she'ena koletas ela Shogeg. He makes a mistake because it only protects those who do things by mistake. V'hu mezid, but the Sar, the angel of Rome, it was on purpose. And Hayatoa she'ena koletas ela Adam. He also makes a mistake. V'hu mezid Hayat should be rather, and he did it on purpose. And finally, Toa she'ena koletas ela Adam. Finally, he makes a mistake that it only protects people. V'hu malachu, and he is a malach. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rabbi Yavo says, Arei Miklat lo nitnu lekvura. The Arei Miklat are not given over for the purpose of burial. People are not buried in the Arei Miklat. Tichsiv, as it's written, U'megrashem yu levehemtam v'lerechusham v'lechol chayosam. It says that the areas, the open areas, are for the animals, and we darshan chayosam as lechayim nitnu, that it's for life, v'lo lekvura, not for burial. And the Gemara continues, Meisvei, we have a question from the Mishnah. The Mishnah said, Shama, Shamte diraso, Shamte misaso, Shamte kuvuraso. It says over there is where the Rotzeach lives, where he dies, and where he is buried. So you see there is burial in the Arei Miklat. And the Gemara answers, Rotzeach Shani, it's different by the murderer himself, the Goli Be'Rachmana. There the Torah reveals that he should be buried, but other residents of the city should not be buried there. And the Gemara continues at the 2 dots. The Mishnah said, Kishem Shayir Koletis V'chulu, just like the city provides refuge, so too the Tchum, the boundary, provides refuge. The Gemara says, Uraminu, we have the following contradiction. It says in the Brisa of V'yoshav Ba, that he sits within it, Ba v'lo b'tchuma, he's within the city, and not in the boundary of the city. It sounds like the Tchum does not provide the protection. Amar Abaya says, Lokash, it's not difficult, Kan liklot, kan lodor. In one case, we're talking about it simply providing admittance, providing protection. In the other case, we're talking about living there. To live there, you have to live in the actual city and not in the boundary. The Gemara says loder, but if it means to live, typically we should have another reason why you can't live in the tchum, because the halach is deinos and sada migrash, you can't make a field into an open space. Velo migrash sada, you can't make an open space into a field. Velo migrash ir, you can't make the open space into the city. Velo ir migrash, and you can't make the city into an open space. And the Gemara continues and answers, Amar Rav Sheshes says, Lo nitzrucha ela lemechilos. This is necessary. Let's say a person were to dig a tunnel, so he's not ruining the migrash or the sada. He's not ruining the open areas of the field. So the question is, can he live in these tunnels? And that's what we're saying over here, that is not allowed. Again, in terms of living, you have to live in the city itself. And the Gemara continues at the 2 dots. The Mishnah said, Rotzeach sheyotza chutz letchum v'chul. If the Rotzeach leaves the boundary of the Yer Miklat, so then there was a machlokas tanoim in terms of whether or not there is a mitzvah to kill him. And the Gemara says, Tanu Rabban, and the rabbis taught, V'rotzach goel hadamis harotzeach. It says the redeemer of the blood will kill the murderer. And the machlokas tanoim is as follows: mitzvah biad goel hadam. According to the first Tana, it is a mitzvah in the hands of the goel hadam to kill the Rotzeach. Ein goel hadam, if there's no goel hadam, reshus biad kol adam, then anyone else has permission to kill the Rotzeach. Divrei Rabbi Yossi Aglili, these are the words of Rabbi Yossi Aglili. Again, this is Rabbi Yossi Aglili's opinion. When it says V'rotzach goel hadam es harotzeach, it means to say it's a mitzvah for the goel hadam to kill the Rotzeach, and anyone else has permission to do so. Rabbi Akiva says Reshus biad goel hadam, the goel hadam has permission to kill the Rotzeach. V'chol adam, and any other person, and the Gra puts in the word ein over here, V'chol adam ein chayav and olive, and all other people, they're not chayav, they're not liable if they do kill the Rotzeach. And the Gemara says, my time with Rabbi Yossi Aglili. What's the reason of Rabbi Yossi Aglili? Miksiv im ratzach. It doesn't say if he kills. It says v'ratzach. That sounds like it's a mitzvah. Rabbi Akiva responds, Miksiv yirtzach. It doesn't say he should kill. It just says he does kill, and so therefore that indicates that it is in fact a reshus, but not a mitzvah. And the Gemara continues, Amar Mar Zutra Bar Tovia Marav. Mar Zutra Bar Tovia says that Rav says, Rotzeach sheyotza chutz letchum. If a murderer, if he leaves the boundary of the city, umatzo goel hadam, and the goel hadam finds him, if a hargo and kills him, nerag olav, so then the goel hadam is actually killed for that. The goel hadam is liable. He's not allowed to kill the Rotzeach at all. And the Gemara says, Kiman, who does that follow? Lo Rabbi Yossi Aglili, v'lo Rabbi Akiva. It doesn't follow Rabbi Yossi Aglili, and it doesn't follow Rabbi Akiva, because again, even according to Rabbi Akiva, so the goel hadam, he has reshus at least, And the Gemara continues and answers, Hu da Amar ki haytana detanya. This particular, this statement of Rav follows the Tana in the following brayso. Rabbi Eliezer says, Aramdo lifnei ha'eda la mishpat, until he stands before the congregation for judgment. Matam alomer, what is the pasuk saying that? Lefisha nemar v'rotzach goel hadam es, because it says that the goel hadam kills the murderer, yachol miyada, I might think he can kill him immediately. Tam alomer, the pasuk says, Aramdo lifnei ha'eda la mishpat, only after he stands in front of the congregation for judgment, only after there's a verdict against him, only then is the goel hadam allowed to kill him. That's what Rabbi Eliezer says. And the Gemara continues with Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Akiva. Now, according to Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Akiva, Hayad Amdo Lefnei Ha'edel HaMishpat, my Darshi Bey, what do they do with this pasuk of Ad Amdo Lefnei Ha'edel HaMishpat? And the Gemara continues and answers, Ahumi Boile L'Chidatanya, that is needed for the following brayso. Rabbi Akiva says, Minayin L'Sanhedrin Sharo Echad Shahar Ges HaNefesh. How do we know if the Sanhedrin saw somebody kill someone, She'ein Memisa, so that they can't kill him at Sheyamod B'Bezen Acher, unless he stands in front of another court? Talmud Lomar Ad Amdo Lefnei Ha'edel HaMishpat. Again, it says, Ad Amdo Lefnei Mishpat means to say, Ad sheyamod bebezen acher, he has to stand in another court. And the Gemara continues, Tanu Rabbanan, the rabbis taught, Im yotzo yetze harotzech. Again, it says, if the murderer, if he leaves the miklat, the boundary of the miklat, ein li ela b'mezid. Now, I only know that if he leaves on purpose, b'shogeg minayin. How do we know that even if he leaves by mistake, he can be killed by the goel hadam? Talmud lomar mi yotzo yetze mikol makom. It says like a double language. Yotzo yetze means any way that he leaves, he can now be killed by the goel hadam. The Gemara continues, Vatanya, but didn't we learn in the Brayso that's not true? B'mezid nerag, that only if he leaves on purpose he's killed. But b'shogeg gola, but if he leaves by mistake, he just goes back to Golus. And the Gemara says, Lokash, it's not difficult. Hakamanda Amar Amrinon Dibra Torah Koloshim B'nei Adam. One is following the one who says that the Torah just speaks Koloshim B'nei Adam. You don't learn anything according to the second brayso from Yotzo Yetze. That's just the way the Torah speaks. And Hakamanda Amar Lo Amrinon Dibra Torah Koloshim B'nei Adam. And the first brayso that we brought, which learns from the double language that even B'shogeg he can be killed, that's because the Torah does not speak in the way of people, and therefore we can learn from the double language. And the Gemara continues, Amar Abai says, Mistabra Command Amar Dibra Torah Koloshim B'nei Adam. It makes sense to say, like the one who says that the Torah does speak according to the way that people speak, meaning to say, it makes sense to say that we don't darshan Yotzo Yetze, and we make a distinction between B'mezid and B'shogeg. Why? Shelo Yehei Sofo Chamar Mitchilaso, because what happens to him at the end should not be stricter than the beginning. Matchilaso, just like at the beginning when he originally commits the murder, B'mezid Nerag, B'shogeg Gola, if he does it B'mezid, he gets killed. If he does it by mistake, he's exiled. So Av Sofo, so the same thing is true at the end in terms of, let's say he leaves the Miklat, B'mezid Nerag, if he does it on purpose, he's killed. B'shogeg Gola, if he does it by mistake, then he is exiled. And the Gemara continues, Tani Chad, it was taught in one braysa, Av Shaharag, let's say a father kills, B'no Nasa lo Goel Hadam, so his other son can be the Goel Hadam. The case over here could be that the father, let's say, kills one of his sons, now the other son can be the Goel Hadam, and the other son is allowed to kill the father. V'tanya Yidach, and we learned in another braysa, Ein B'no Nasa lo Goel Hadam, the son is not able to be the Goel Hadam because the son in particular is not able to kill the father. And the Gemara says, Leima Har Rav Yossi Aglili, V'Har Rabbi Akiva, let us say that one is Rav Yossi Aglili. Again, Rav Yossi Aglili says it's a mitzvah for the Goel Hadam to kill the Rotzeach, so then even the son could do it. And the other is Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva says that the Goel Hadam is permission, but it's not a mitzvah, and so therefore a son is not allowed to do that. But the Gemara continues and says, V'tizbar, is that really logical? Bein laman damar mitzvah, bein laman damar rishus. Whether you say it's a mitzvah or rishus, mishari, do you really think it's permitted for the son to kill his father? V'yamar Rabba bar Rav Huna, but Rabba bar Rav Huna said, V'chein tana devei Rabbi Shmuel, it was also taught in the yeshiva of Rabbi Shmuel, L'chol ein haben nasa shliach la'aviv. A son is not allowed to be an agent against his father, lahakoso, lakalaloso, to strike him or to curse him, chutz mi mesis, with the exception of if the father is a mesis who causes other people to worship avodah zarah. Sharayam Torah, because the Torah says lo sachmo v'lo sachasa olav, then you can't have mercy on a mesis, but otherwise the son is not allowed to be involved. And so the Gemara instead answers ela lo kasha, rather it is not difficult, habiv no v'habiv en beno. In one brayso we're talking about his actual son. The son is not allowed to kill the father, but the but the son of the son, the grandson, actually would be allowed to. And Rashi explains, L'chol ein haben nasa, l'chol aveirus shebetorah ein haben nasa shliach bezdin aloviv. Let's say any aveira that the father commits, the son is not allowed to be the agent of the court against his father. Lo l'halkoso v'lo l'nadoso chutz mi meses. He can't do it to strike him. He can't do it l'nadoso, meaning to say he can't do it to ostracize him. It's only true that he's allowed to do that as a mesis. And Rashi continues, Hachi Garcina Nello Kasha Habivno Habiven Beno. In one case we're talking about a son, in one case the grandson, meaning Hadatanya Ein Beno Nasa Goel Hadam. When it says the son cannot be a Goel Hadam, Bivno Shal Rotseach Kamer, that's talking about the son of the murderer. Hadatanya Beno Nasa Lo Goel Hadam, when it says the son can be a Goel Hadam, that's Bivno Shal Harug Kamer, that's the son of the one who was killed, Shu Ben Beno Shal Rotseach, which is the son of the son, the grandson of the murderer, Ve'eno Muzar Al Kavoda, the grandson is not warned with regards to respecting his grandfather. And the Gemara continues with the Mishnah, Elon shu omed b'sochat chum. Let's say you have a tree that it is standing within the boundary of the Ir Miklat. V'nofo nota chutz l'tchum, but its branches, they're spreading outside of the boundary of the Ir Miklat. O omed chutz l'tchum, or let's say the tree is standing outside of the boundary of the Ir Miklat. V'nofo nota b'sochat chum, and the branches, they're leaning over into the boundary of the Ir Miklat. Hakol holech achar hanof, everything follows the branch. Rashi says, Hakol holech achar hanof, afilu hu bi'ikaro, means to say, even if he's in the main part of the tree, that's, let's say, within the boundary, but still it's like he is outside of the boundary. Let's say the other way around. Let's say the main part is outside the boundary, and the branches are within the boundary. Even the main part of the tree is going to admit protection. And the Gemara says, Urimini, we have the following contradiction. Elon shu omed, let's say you have a tree that is standing, vinota lechutz, and it is leaning towards the outside. O omed bachutz, so let's say it's on the outside, vinota lifnim, and then it's leaning towards the inside. Mikeneged hachoma v'lifnim kilifnim, whatever part is within the inside of the wall is judged as inside. Mikeneged hachoma v'lachutz, and everything that is from corresponding to the wall towards the outside, kilachutz, that is considered as if it is on the outside. And Rashi explains, Elon Shalom Bifnim Yerushalayim. We're talking here about Yerushalayim. The tree is on the boundary of the city of Yerushalayim. Ulinyan Achilas Meiser Sheni Yerushalayim Hishnui. There's a halacha you're supposed to eat Meiser Sheni in Yerushalayim, and that's the issue over here. Mikaneged Hachoma Alma Lo Nofo Shadinan Basar Ikar V'Lo Ikar Basar Nof. You see from over here when it comes to Meiser Sheni that we don't say that the root, the main part of the tree follows the branches or vice versa. You say wherever you are in terms of the city, that's where you are. And the Gemara continues and answers, Ma'isra or a miklat karamis. Are you asking a contradiction between this Mishnah and Ma'aser Sheni and a case involving or a miklat? Ma'aser, when it comes to Ma'aser Sheni, b'choma tol rachmana, there everything's dependent on the wall of Yerushalayim. But or a miklat, when it comes to the or a miklat, b'dira tol rachmana, that goes by where a person lives. B'nofo mitarle, in the branches of a tree a person can live. B'ikaro lo mitarle, but in the trunk of a tree a person is not able to live. And Rashi explains, b'choma tol rachmana d'chsiv lifnei Hashem l'kecha. It says in front of Hashem you have to eat it in terms of Ma'aser Sheni. And B'dira Tala Rachmana, when it comes to the Ari Miklat, it's living there. D'chsev ki be'ir miklat o yeshiv. It says he's going to settle in the Ir Miklat. V'nofo roy l'dira yoser meikaru. It's more fit to live in the branches than it is in the trunk of the tree. And the Gemara continues, V'rami Ma'aser ha-Ma'aser, but we have a contradiction, Ma'aser against Ma'aser. The Tanya, as we learned in a Brisa, Yerushalayim holach achar hanof. It says when in Yerushalayim you have to follow the branches. And Bari Miklat holach achar hanof. And also when it comes to the Ir Miklat, you follow the branches. And so it seems, even when it comes to Ma'aser Sheni, we're following the nof, we're following the branches. And the Gemara says, Amar Rav Kahana says, Lokash, it's not difficult. Ha Reb Yehuda, v'ha Rabban. And one is the Reb Yehuda, and one is the Rabban, and the Tanya, as we learned in a Brisa. And Rashi explains, B'Yerushalayim le'inyan Ma'aser, in Yerushalayim, in terms of Ma'aser, halech achar hanof, you should follow the branches, and we will continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Yud Beis, Amud Beis.